Hi, Gary Richards.
Yeah, hello, I'm Leon Lackerby, the grandfather, and together we
We
are
are Gary
Gary
and
and
the
the
grandfather.
grandfather. We did it almost pretty good. What do you think?
So, what are we talking about today then?
Well,
Tonight?
well, today, tonight, I guess, we're going to talk about, first of all, affirmations, right?
Oh,
Did
yes.
you say your affirmations? And remember last time we spoke, I said that I say 3 of them every day.
Mm-hmm.
The first one I say is, thank God I'm alive, right? That's number one, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, thank God for my family, my friends, you. Don't tell anyone I said that, by the
Yes,
way.
please. That stays with us.
Private note. And I think the third one, thank God that I'm healthy and I'm able to interact in the world, right? I'm not a sickly human being lying in some bed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So I
for
feel,
sure.
feel very lucky. But I thought today we'd talk about education. What is an education, right?
Education. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Like you've been to school and I've been to school.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to university and you've been to university. And I mean, for me, my education began when I finished university. To be honest.
Oh, really?
You
How
know?
so? What do you
Well,
mean?
well, I think for me at least, I'm born in a little town and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I was quite confused and quite lost in a way, and then went abroad for number of years, and then when I came back, I went to university, and the university was I found it was like a training ground for my mind. To be honest, I mean I got so much exposure to so many diverse things. I took a Russian class and a
Mm-hmm.
German class, and I'm trained as a philosopher, as such. But I took all these other classes, and it somehow gave me a methodology to look at knowledge, if you will. So now when I view something, whatever it is, I can analyze it to my own satisfaction and I understand it in my
Mm-hmm.
perception of the world. So university was like a key that allowed me to segue into life. And this is what you and I have spoken about a lot. That you must never, ever, ever stop learning,
Mm-hmm.
right? Ever. And this, leave it off for the first 2 hours of the day. It's good advice, right?
No, it's not good advice at all.
Oh no, in the morning it is. No, it is, Gary.
No, because I need to, as I said before last time, I need to check my sales for my online business and my marketing, and it's very important. Without this,
Yeah.
there we go. Just got another sale right
No,
there.
no, but I know, but you can check that after you've gotten up, you've washed, you've shaved, you've written in your notebook, you've done your meditations, and then you had your breakfast, and then you can look at that box, right? Because the sales are going to be there, regardless.
No,
Right?
but if you need to fulfill it, that you need to, you need to, keep up to date with those things. It's very important.
Well, I mean, we have the ultimate question, don't we? I mean, who's responsible for my life? I am, is the answer, right?
Yeah, sure.
And who controls my time? I do.
Yeah.
I do. So if I decide that I'm going to, not look at the cell phone for the first 2 hours of the day, I can. I can organize my life if that's the priority.
Yeah,
Right?
well, I totally agree. I think that's fine, but for a lot of people, I think especially younger people, it's important to use your phone, to look at your phone, even early in the day. I think it's important. Maybe it's not relevant to your life. I think to ours, it definitely is.
Yeah. But some of the schools they ban the cell phone now. You know that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't take it. You don't have a cell phone for the whole day. Right through lunchtime, there's no like we're keeping the cell phone for you and we're gonna give it back to you at lunchtime. It's like no cell phone,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you go there as a teacher with the cell phone, they're kind of jealous, right? Because you got the phone, right? And they don't have a phone.
Well, how do you think the phones have changed education?
Well, I think the internet. I think with the phone's a conduit, of course, for the internet. I think
Sure.
the internet itself has removed the 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Now, what was that date? Let me just look it up.
Did you just say something about Columbus?
Yeah, Columbus. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was there.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah, but Columbus. Here's a bit of trivia for you. Columbus never went to America.
Yeah, I
He
know.
never. He never went. You know who actually was the first person in Florida? The first Spaniard. You know his name? Ready?
Wait. Let me check.
Let me check. Yeah,
Let me
check.
check.
It was Ponce de Leon.
Oh, Ponce de Leon.
Ponce
Yes.
de Leon. He was looking for the fountain of youth, right? Right? Amazing. But the point is that the internet has allowed you to look up everything,
Yeah.
right?
That's,
Good and
that's
bad.
good. That's a good thing.
Yeah. So a lot of the classes that I took at school
Mhm.
that were rote classes basically,
Yeah.
and memorization, dates and times
Mhm.
and everything else, unimportant. And yet the school system fundamentally has not changed in 150 years, right? It's basically the same model that we're producing citizens for the industrial sector, basically, right?
Mhm.
So, and this is a big issue.
Yeah,
Right?
I agree that it's a really big issue. I think a lot of the courses and not just courses, but I feel a lot of the things taught in school have become somewhat irrelevant
Yeah,
to
obsolete.
obsolete, yeah,
Yeah,
to today's society.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that the school system is looking, to a lot of young people, it looks ridiculous, I think, to be honest.
Yeah.
Ridiculous and probably somewhat immature and old-fashioned,
Mhm.
right? It just looks like even the buildings, the way they keep the desks, Like in one of the classes I teach Gary, I thought it's kind of interesting. They have behavioral problems, okay?
Mhm.
So I thought to myself, wait a moment. If I just let them be in their own little desks, they're going to have, little power groups, and it'll be chaos. So I pushed all the desks to the side, and I made a semicircle with the chairs.
Oh.
So now they have no choice. They have to look at me. Whether they want to look at this ugly old guy or not, they have to look at me. And I can also see when they're talking immediately. So even though the high school is difficult for me, it's manageable.
Mhm.
And that's a small example, I think, for the young people that probably I believe this, with nutrition and everything else, they're probably smarter than they've ever been.
Mhm.
The post-millennials, the people that we want to talk to, right, are probably more clever than they've ever been.
Well, may I just go back for a minute?
Yeah.
And I want to discuss something. So, because I teach students too,
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
it or not.
Yeah.
But something I was thinking about what you said about some of your students, they're talking, right? Forcing them to look at you. But what would happen if you just said, okay, you want to talk? Okay, fine. Just don't disrupt the rest of us.
And that's what I do.
Is that what you do?
Exactly, absolutely, 100%. I say, I tell them, at the beginning of class, there's one high school I have not told that for many reasons, but at the average high school I've taught at, I've told them, look, here's the deal. Everyone will get a high score. Everyone in this class. Everyone. But I ask of you two things. A, please come. Please attend the class, right? Please. And second, don't bother your classmates. All I ask. So if you talk, which I understand, you're young and you're with your classmates, you want to talk. So interesting, your classmates, all this stuff, right? But if I can hear you talk, then obviously you are interrupting the class, and then we don't have a deal, right? The deal's off. And of course, you got to moderate that, because I want all of them to. I want to take the fear of learning away from them, and the fear is predicated on these scores, right?
Yes.
And which is just, it's just so foolish, and naive, really.
I think that's one of the big problems we have in education in general. Does come back to the scores. That where I teach, there's the main attitude of the students. These are elementary, primary age students, and the main attitude is make sure you copy down the answers so that you have them all correct. I even had given some of these students tests before, and then I marked the exams, multiple choice, whatever. And the one kid's test, the answer's A, and I mark it as correct. The other one answers D, I mark it as correct. And the students say, well, which answer is correct, A or D? I said, well, either of them can be correct.
When it comes to grammar, for instance.
But how?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not grammar, but just general questions.
Yeah.
Where
it could
maybe
be
one of the answers is slightly better, but at the same time, the other answer is more than acceptable.
Mm-hmm. I've done that too. I know exactly what you're saying.
Where I think really, in my opinion, with students, we shouldn't be training them for answers. We should be training them to think.
That's right.
Yes,
Critical
it's a
thinking.
thought process.
Absolutely.
Like I
Absolutely.
when I was in university, we had this had this calculus class. And there was this, I'll never forget, this guy, classmate. He was in second. It was his second time through that class. That he'd failed it the first time. And he was taking it again. This was just a general education class. None of us were mathematics majors. We didn't want to be there. It was 8 o'clock in the morning, whatever. And the professor, he was ex-military, scary, old, and he, I never forget, because this guy was, for his second round with this class, the professor would always ask him if nobody volunteered. So he went up one day, this guy, and he starts writing on the board, and he answered that he got his answer. And the professor says, okay, now explain what you did. So he's explaining what he did. He got halfway through the problem. The professor looked at him and he said, now why would you do a dumb thing like that? He said right in front of the whole class. And then we all looked at each other. Nobody laughed. We're all feeling like scared at this point. And then next class he says, well, how come nobody ever volunteers in here? I don't understand. My other 10 o'clock class, they're always talkative, and you guys just say nothing. Yeah. Oh, why do you think?
Yeah, idiot. You know, but 90% of the teachers shouldn't be teachers. You know that. I mean, in Finland, they take 1 in 10. You barely
1 in 10.
1 in 10, and they vet them even in the process of when they are in teachers' college, right? I mean that's the answer. But the society doesn't respect the teacher or the professor really. So I mean you get anyone really to within reason. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a total rethink, Gary, if we're really gonna save the. I mean realistically, like logical thought. Let's what's her name? Greta Thunberg, right? She's screaming, rallying, and railing against climate change, and she's saying, "You guys, you guys, you guys." Well, anyone with half a brain, knows it's not you guys, it's we guys. We're all in this. This is one planet, one planet.
Yeah, we're all in it together.
We're all in together. So to create that division between young people and old people, and then the news media picks up on it and it just runs with it, right? It's crazy, as opposed to saying, look, we all got to get together and we all got to solve this. But you get big government, big business, and away it goes. And she's a perfect stooge for the environmental movement. And I think in a certain sense of the word, she's being used by the gas and oil industries to say, look, the kind of kooks that are on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Even the kids laugh at her.
Well,
I've watched
To be honest, I know her name, but I really don't follow her very much. I know she's involved in, some of these
Big
environmental issues, but
Yeah.
it's not my interest, so I don't really follow it very much. But I think that is a big problem. I think to solve any sort of global issue,
Mm.
we first need to think about it with a mindset of we.
Absolutely.
Even in
Absolutely.
business, like I'm more business minded,
Yeah, I know.
and one of the things that if there's a situation, we don't start pointing fingers saying you gotta do this, you gotta do it. We say, how can we work together to solve this issue?
Of course.
And that's where it starts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it upsets me when you have. I mean, these supposedly we're all smart people, but it seems that we want crises in a sense, don't we? I mean, maybe it's good for business, good for money, but it's not good to solve the problems of the world, right? You know,
Of course.
all of us. The example you talk about your professor. I've had that. I think we've all had that. We've all been embarrassed by a teacher or a professor about something, and you feel the constriction in your throat, right? That's the end of my speaking, right? That's the end. Now make a presentation, you get it here in your viscerally in your stomach, right? Ridiculous. It's wrong.
Well, I think another thing that I've heard, there's some professors in. Well, let me preface this by saying I have some friends who are from Asia, and one of them had gone on to a very prominent school
Mm.
in an Asian country for graduate school,
Mm.
one of the top universities.
Wow.
And she said that the professor there
Mm.
had basically the professor was running the show, that there was no room for thought.
Mm.
If they told you write about this or write about that or gave you a test or whatever, and you had a different opinion than they did,
Problems.
even if you were correct and you supported it by examples and evidence, it was considered wrong, and you were doomed for that class.
A revolutionary.
Yeah, that you weren't. Yeah, I've even heard some students had failed their class because of situations like that.
He challenged the professor, basically.
Because
Yeah.
the professor, yeah. Whereas in, I think I said this before to you, my one of my studies, university, was English,
Mm.
so we had the freedom to analyze. We were trained to analyze literature through a variety of lenses, whether feminism or Marxist perspective,
Mm.
psychoanalysis perspective,
Mm.
a whole deconstructionism,
Mm.
a whole variety of lenses, approaches, yeah, and we could analyze however we saw fit, and by nature of what we were doing, whether the professor agreed with our analysis or not, it didn't matter as long as we had the evidence backing it up.
Absolutely, I
You know.
understand. Yeah, for sure. No, for sure. This has to be in general with where education is going, because we need to create critical thinkers.
Yes.
And if we don't do it, I think humanity truly is doomed. Truly. I really think of this now. That if we don't begin to solve these environmental crises and emotional crises and psychological crises, philosophical crises, all these crises that exist can only be solved by critical thinking, or we will have the end of the civilization, as we understand it, which has happened before. I mean, this would not be a revolutionary concept, sadly. You look at the antecedents in the Roman Empire are probably undoubtedly somewhat true. mass immigration, environmental, problems. You had political leadership that was in crisis. Economic duress. It just goes on, right? So, and we have the same models. British Empire also same models right before the First World War. So, but I think I'm going to go.
Are you then?
I think so. I think I have to go. Forgive me.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
say goodbye, Gary.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. We'll catch
And
us
we'll
soon.
catch you later.
What are we going to talk about next time? What would you like to talk
Next
about?
time?
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think?
Sure.
How about travel?
Travel. Okay, sure.
You want to
Yeah,
try
let's
travel?
do travel.
Because we can't travel. Can you travel? I can't travel.
Oh, I can only travel in my mind.
My mind. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about travel next time.
Okay, sure. Let's
Yeah,
do travel.
Great. You take care. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye bye.